let's make a start then. So let's just run through everything that I'm going to be using today. So I'm going through everything that I've used on all 3 cards, but you won't necessarily see all of them on every card. Okay, so I'm using the pastel dewdrops. I'm also using the checkered cloth and the textures stamp set, and then we're using 2 of the new fabulous die sets. We're using the Simply Heartfelt and we're using the It's a Wrap. So the beautiful padded quilt is all the nested pocket builder. Then I'm also using the bold words and the bold phrases. I'm also using the foiled and plain sentiment stickers. You get 1800 stickers and they are just fabulous. I use them on so many projects even. I'm also using the nested scalloped and stitched rectangles, another staple for your craft stash. I use those a lot and I use these a lot. First off, let me show you. I used the checkered cloth and I stamped this in Versafine Clair, and this one is Verdant. And I think this is a beautiful green. I wanted something really bright and cheerful for this card. So I stamped it twice. I stamped it that way and matched it up as best I could. It is, you can do it, it takes a little bit of practice, but I don't think you can really see where the join is. In fact, it goes that way because the join is down there, but you know, you've really got to look to see it, to be fair. So I then cut that out with the nested scalloped and stitched rectangles to put on my card. This is a 5x7 card and I'm going to use it landscape as opposed to portrait. I thought I'd go for 5x7 because I know that our USA friends do like smaller cards because their postage costs are quite astronomical, I believe. So if I place that down on my card, I'm going to put it that way. I'm putting it that way only because there was a slight, I missed a little bit of the stamping. As you can see here, I've just missed a little bit here. But I don't really think it matters. I think it actually adds to the card, if I'm honest. So then I used my It's a Wrap die set, and I've cut the main piece in yellow. Also, I've already put my 3D pads on the back. Okay, and when you cut this out, you'll get score lines down here, which are fabulous because you can just fold them over. I actually prefer it that way, but you can fold it either way, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so these are all your dies here. So this is the piece I've cut in yellow, and you'll see on the packaging this line here is green. That means it's not a cut line, it's a fold line, a score line. Okay, and then these 3 I've cut out in white, and then I've used the textures stamp set and I've stamped some texture, some script on the back of this, on this card, to put in the back of that little It's a Wrap shape. Okay, I've also cut the 2 front pieces in white, but when I stamped the text on here, I made sure that I stamped it so that when you add it to the front, it's going to be the wrong way, because if you fold a piece of paper that's got script all over it, when you fold it, the script's not going to be in a line, is it? It's going to look a bit different. So I thought I would do that so that it looked as though you'd folded one sheet of wrapping paper, you know, the tissue paper that they use, so that it looked a little bit different. Okay, so I'm going to put that down there, and then I'm going to add these to my front pieces. Okay, so I'm gluing those down as well. I'm using Lisa's glue. Don't use very much of this, to be fair. You can see I'm actually getting quite low on this one bottle. I have got 3 others, so I'm not worried about running out. But I was building storage units, you know, Danny's MDF storage units over the weekend, so I've used quite a bit, but it is brilliant for that. So let's just add those down there. Now I'm not gluing this yet because I want to place my flowers before I glue it, okay? But I think when you look at that, you see what I mean? When you folded that piece of tissue paper or whatever it would be, that writing's going to be a different way round to the one that's in the back. So that's that bit. Now I wanted to show you how to put the flowers together. Okay, I've done 3 sets, but I thought if I just ran through how to do them, then it would sort of take the scary bit away for you, because they are so lovely, but I wouldn't say they're fiddly. They just take a little bit of time, and it's worth spending that little bit of time to make them look exactly what they are. Really, really pretty flowers. So first off, I'm going to do the little buds that poke up from behind the main flower. Okay, can you see that okay? Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. I'll just wait for my camera to catch up. I think that's better. Okay, so those are the main flower pieces. Now when you unpack your dies and this stuck to your card, spend a little bit of time taking your dies off your card and taking the glue off the back of the dies that is still stuck to them. I've put mine in a little bag and I've thrown the card away, because with the best will in the world, when you come to put them back on the card, there isn't going to be as much tape to stick them to. So either put them on magnetic sheets or in a bag. Mine are in a bag at the moment because I've run out of magnetic sheets, but that would be my ideal storage. Put them on a magnetic sheet and then put them back in the original packaging. So I'm just going to add a tiny blob of glue at the back of the flower, just in the V, and then I'm going to add the little diamond shapes. Make sure I've got them the right way around, so that they stick proud of the main flower part. Okay, so if you turn it over, don't worry about any glue that you can see. It'll dry clear anyway, and you can always get it off with your little eraser. Okay, so that sits proud there. So if we do all 3 of those, this was just the best way of putting them together that I found. I tried several ways, and this for me worked the best. So you find your own way. I'm sure everybody will do it differently, and I normally, when I'm putting them together, I try and make sure, if I lift this one up, that the points on this little rhomboid piece here sit just below the V on that flower, so they sit just below here, and then that way your little bud will look about right. So do that on all 3. Then I'm going to turn them over and I'm going to add the little green bits on the front. So I'm just going to add a little tiny bit of, probably come out too quick, tiny bit of glue at the bottom, and as I say, take a little bit of time to do these. So place that on the bottom, follow the shape of the flower round so that you're positioning it in the right place. These fabulous tweezers are ideal for this because they're so fine that they pick these little tiny bits up really, really easily, and just perfect for placing. Okay, so there's your little flowers all done. Now all I've got to do is add them to the stem, and again, just a tiny bit of glue on the end of each of those stems, and then place them down and just hold them in place till they've stuck, and they will stick. I mean, this glue is, I've said it before, it's amazing stuff. It will stick anything to anything. If I can sit over the weekend and do my MDF units and put all those together with this glue, then you know your cardstock is going to be perfect, isn't it? Okay, so there's my little flower all done, and I just think they are so pretty. I mean, these are really bright colours because, like I said to you, I wanted this card to be really zingy, hence the greens and oranges and lemons. Okay, so when I add these into my It's a Wrap, I'm just going to place them before I glue them. All right, I am doing more than one layer because I wanted it to look quite full. So that is how I'm going to glue them down. So I'm going to add those there like that, and then I'm going to fasten this. Okay, so I'm not fastening this until I've added my flowers in. So I've got choices now. I can either use my 3D glue and add them in, or just stick them flat. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the back ones flat, but I'm only gluing the leaves because the flowers will sit proud. Probably don't need glue on that one actually. So I'm popping that one down there, and then I'm going to take this one and do exactly the same over the other side and pop that one down there. And then with these two, I am going to use 3D glue so that they can sit on top of the flowers I've just put down, and these will sit sort of in the middle. So I am going to use a little bit more 3D glue gel. Okay, but to be honest, having done them, they are so easy. You can't go wrong. Just take a little bit of time to spend just putting them together. I'd do a batch, if I'm honest. I'd get your cardstock and cut sort of 2 or 3 sets so that you can put them all together, and then you've got flowers ready to go. If you leave it until you're ready to use them, you might get frustrated, but only because you want them to look so lovely. So then I'm going to fasten that down, but I'm only gluing this bit. I'm not actually gluing this piece down to the card because I want it to sort of sit proud of those flowers a little bit. So let's glue that there and just hold that down a second. It won't take long because this glue has got such a good grab on it. You've got a little bit of wiggle room, but not a great deal. So there's my flowers in their little wrap. Now I think they look fabulous. Now, as you saw earlier on, I've already put my 3D pads because I want them to sit a little bit proud, and I'm going to put those at a slight angle on my card there. Okay, how pretty do they look? I think they're fabulous. Okay, so then I made my bow, and you can see here you get 2 parts to your bow. So you get a back piece, and then you get the intricate piece that goes on the top. And again, I've cut mine in card that is going to match everything else that I'm doing. Okay, I did cut a green one of where I've put the orange. I did cut it in green first, but I don't know, it just didn't look right, so I took the green off and put it in orange instead, and I think I'm happier with the orange. Again, I've 3D'd the bow because I just want this card to have some lovely depth to it. I just want it to be, I don't know, more tactile, if you like. Yeah, there is just the one bow in that set, but it is a beautiful bow. So then I've used the bold words, and I've cut the back piece in orange to match everything else, and then I left the words white. Rather than cut them in yellow, I thought they probably would stand out a little bit better if they were in white. Okay, so I thought this side looked a little bit bare, so I've cut 2 of the hearts from the Simply Heartfelt, and I've cut a large and a small that face this way. You get a large and a small that face the other way as well. And if I put those down first, I want those about there. Okay, and I am going to use 3D glue, but what I will probably do is snip off the stems so that the stems disappear behind the sentiment, just because I don't want the stems sticking out from the bottom of the sentiment, because I don't know, I just don't like it. So I'll put these down first and then I can snip them off afterwards. Okay. I'll just have to be careful with those because they are only attached with 3D glue gel. So then I'm going to put my sentiment down before I snip those off, because I want to make sure that I'm in the right place with. I don't want to cut them too short so that you can see the end of them. So put that down there. Actually, I won't have to, because I'm going to take this down so that it doesn't interfere with that bow. Yeah, I'll take it down so that it doesn't interfere with the bow. So I won't need to actually trim them off. But you could, if they were in sort of, you know, in the wrong place as it were, and you could see these stems sticking out beneath here, I would trim them off just so that they look as though they're coming from this, not just sitting behind it. So there you go, that's the card that I decided to make for today. And then, because I thought, well, I haven't really used the Simply Heartfelt, I thought I would put a card together this morning using the Simply Heartfelt, and I made that one. Now I think this is gorgeous. I'll just move it so that it's completely in shot. You might remember I did a baby girl card with the same sort of pocket on it, and that I've sent that off to Lisa. So I thought, well, I'll do a baby boy one today. I haven't actually put baby boy on it, but I have to say I was inspired to use the colours that I've used by the card that Connie did. It was the Viola card that you did and the colours that you used, and I just thought they looked so beautiful. They're slightly different to what you've used. I've used tumbled glass, tea dye and Uncharted Mariner, and I've put that on my card like so, and on my card for my pocket, and then die cut them out, and then I've put the pocket through the 3D embossing folder, the padded quilt, and then I've just placed these down. So I've put my pocket where I wanted it, and I've just drawn a line just inside the pocket on this backing card, okay, just so that I knew where this pocket was going to come to. And then I've placed all these down. I've done these with 3D glue gel as well, so that they sit proud. But I just think the hearts on here are just beautiful. And there are so many. I mean, there are 10 dies in there. And like I said, you get hearts that sort of flow one way, as well as hearts that flow the other way. So these flow one way and the other way, so right and left. And I just think they are so lovely. So I thought if I did a card with those as well, then I've used them in 2 different ways. But I also wanted to say, if you haven't got masses of coloured cardstock, you don't have to worry. Use some white cardstock and just cut it all out in white. Okay, so that's what I did with this. I've cut everything out in white, totally. And all I've done is I've added saltwater taffy with my stencil brush just to the little bits that I wanted colour on. So this is all white, and I've quite literally used a very light touch and added saltwater taffy just on the edges of these pieces. Same with the bow, and the same with the backing piece for the hello. So this is all white card, just adding a little bit of colour with a stencil brush and an ink pad. And I just think that looks so beautiful, and so totally different to that one, and yet I've used exactly the same die set. So if you were thinking about it, I hope I've made your mind up in a positive way, and I hope you've enjoyed watching me put those, well, that one together. I wouldn't have had time to put all three together, so that's why I did these ready. So thanks very much for joining me. I appreciate every single one of you. Bye for now.